Hi, this is Aaron Gross from aarongross.com, and I'm a three principles practitioner, and I'd like to discuss with you today a very important concept which is discussed in the principles, which is called the outside in and the inside out approach to life. An outside in approach to life is that I'm a victim. Everything's happening out there, and I have no control over my life. And the inside-out approach is where I realize that whatever is happening outside is also being created through my thought, and I can take responsibility for that. But in order to better encapsulate this idea, there's this poem written by this young Year 11 girl in Brooklyn, New York, in Crown Heights, and I just want to share it with you. I'm not going to go through the poem the way it's read fully. I'm only going to go through it one way. I'll explain that in a minute, what I mean. Just to capture, well, this encapsulates the outside in and the inside out approach. I'm going to focus primarily on the inside out approach, but I'm just going to tell you that this poem was shown to me yesterday by my son. We're having dinner together, and he says, "Dad, you'll really like this because you're into the three principles, into helping people, etc. Have a look at this." And I started reading it, and I just became so disheartened. I said, this is written by a person that feels like a total victim of society. She's blaming the outside for all her problems. I mean, one of the things she says here, if I can just read it, it says, "This world is a pretty evil place. Even if some goodness does shine through once in a while, satisfaction and happiness don't last. And it's not true that it's all in the mind and heart, because true happiness can be attained only if one's surroundings are good." And when I read like that piece, I thought, what a load of rubbish. Even if things aren't so good on the outside, you can still be okay on the inside. As we've discussed before, that I can be okay even though it's not okay. And if you haven't seen that video, I certainly recommend you have a look at it. So going on from the poem that my son showed me, so I got down to the bottom of the poem and I was really disappointed because I felt, wow, this person is clueless. And I didn't read the very last bit, and my son said, "Dad, did you read the last two lines?" And I said, "No, because I was so depressed." So he says, "Dad, read the last two lines." And the last two lines read, "Now read it from the bottom to top the other way and see what I really feel about my day." So I said, "Oh, okay, so I better read it." So I'm going to read it to you now. "Today was a very good day, and you'll never in a million years hear me say it's all beyond my control. My attitude creates the reality. I'm sure you can agree that it's not true that good exists only if one's surroundings are good. True happiness can be attained because it's all in the mind and heart. And it's not true that satisfaction and happiness don't last. Some goodness does shine through once in a while, even if the world is a pretty evil place. Because when you take a closer look, there's something good in every day. And don't try to convince me that today was the absolute worst day ever." And I just found this truly a literary work of art, that from the top down, she's all outside in, the world's a horrible place, and going from the bottom up, which is a very unusual way to read a poem, which is why I just gave up originally. It took me totally out of my comfort zone, because you don't normally read a poem, from the bottom up, but in this case we did. And the message is just so beautiful, that don't tell me it's not true that satisfaction and happiness don't last, because it's not true. Satisfaction and goodness do last, because it's an inside job, and what you can create inside can last forever. I was just blown away. Just one of the interesting things was that an inside-out approach means that we're trying to look at things from a wider perspective, taking us out of our own limited attachments and paradigm to something wider. By the mere fact that I had to read this poem from the bottom up really took me way out of my comfort zone, because most people are not used to reading something, so to speak, backwards or from top up. You usually read top down. But that's a great message in its own right. That normally we process things in a top-down processing linear fashion. But from a three principles point of view, who says you always have to? Sometimes, like this poem, you take a bottom-up approach and you get a completely different paradigm and a completely different message, just like this is over here. So that's my take on the poem. Hope you enjoy it. If you haven't read it, please click on the link down below. That'll take you to my website that has this beautiful poem, and enjoy it. And I'd love to see your comments down below. And I'm also contactable at 3pp@aarongross.com. And I've got a couple of numbers, one US and one Australian, but they're both connected to Australia. So please only ring me Melbourne, Australia time if you'd like to have a conversation further with me about this. My numbers are 347-620-3567. That's my US number. My Australian number is 6195258217. Please share your comments again. I'd love to hear what you think about this. Until next time, bye for now.